The Council of Vex had ruled the Andromeda sector for 3 millennia. Their word was law across 47 star systems. Their assassins feared throughout the galaxy. When they decided someone needed to die, that person simply ceased to exist, quietly, efficiently, without a trace. Captain Marcus Chen was different. The human had been operating in their territory for 6 months, disrupting supply lines, liberating slave colonies, and worst of all, inspiring hope among the oppressed species under Vex control. His ship, the Defiance, had become a symbol of resistance that the Council could not tolerate. "Send the Shadow Hunters," commanded High Counselor Zefak, his 4 eyes gleaming with malevolent satisfaction. 3 should be sufficient for 1 primitive human. The Shadow Hunters were the Council's elite. Genetically modified Korthak warriors, their natural camouflage abilities enhanced with quantum phase technology that made them virtually invisible. They could phase through solid matter, move faster than most species could perceive, and their toxin-coated claws could kill with a single scratch. In 3,000 years, no target had ever survived their attention. The first Shadow Hunter, designated Alpha 7, materialized aboard the Defiance while it hung in the shadow of a dead moon. The ship appeared deserted, its corridors dark and silent. Alpha 7's enhanced senses detected the human's heat signature in the cargo bay. Perfect. A quick strike, and this rebellion would end. He phased through the bulkhead and found Captain Chen standing with his back turned, apparently unaware of the danger. Alpha 7's claws extended as he moved in for the kill. The human spun around. What happened next violated everything Alpha 7 understood about combat. The human shouldn't have been able to see him. The phase shift made him invisible to most scanning technologies. Yet Chen's eyes tracked his movement perfectly. Worse, the human moved with impossible speed, ducking under Alpha 7's strike and driving something metallic into the assassin's chest. Alpha 7 looked down to see a crude metal blade protruding from his torso. Not energy-based, not plasma-enhanced, just sharpened steel. It should have been useless against his bioarmor. Yet somehow it had found the one microscopic gap in his defenses. "Humans learn to hunt before we learn to walk," Chen said quietly, twisting the blade. "We killed apex predators with pointed sticks. Did you really think your tech advantage would save you?" Alpha 7 collapsed, his phase shifting failing as his life ebbed away. His final transmission was garbled, incomplete. Target aware, impossible. Beta 12 received the fragmentary message 3 days later. A more cautious operative, she decided to study the human first. She watched from the shadows as Chen moved through the corridors of a liberated space station, greeting freed slaves, coordinating supply runs, planning the next operation against Vex installations. What she observed defied her training. The human constantly scanned his environment, not with technology but with raw instinct. His head turned at sounds her enhanced hearing couldn't detect. He paused at intersections, reading air currents and shadows like a predator tracking prey. Most unnaturally, he seemed to sense when he was being watched. Beta 12 decided to strike during Chen's sleep cycle. She phased into his quarters, her claws ready to deliver a killing blow to the unconscious human. Chen's eyes opened before she took her first step. "Second one this week," he said conversationally, not moving from his bed. "Your friends aren't very talkative, but their gear tells an interesting story. Quantum phase technology, bioengineered enhancements, neurotoxic claws. Someone really wants me dead." Beta 12 lunged, her superior speed and strength making her confident despite Alpha 7's fate. Chen rolled off the bed, grabbed something from beneath his pillow and threw it in one fluid motion. The object, a simple ceramic mug, struck her in the center of her forehead with devastating precision. The assassin stumbled, her phase shifting disrupted by the concussion. Chen was already moving, his hands finding her throat with the casual efficiency of someone who had done this many times before. "The thing about apex predators," he explained as her vision darkened, "is that we got that way by being better killers than everything else." Gamma 3 arrived a week later to find his colleagues' bodies laid out in the Defiance's cargo bay like trophies. The message was clear. The human was done being hunted. Now he was hunting back. The third Shadow Hunter activated every enhancement he possessed, pushed his genetic modifications to their absolute limits. He would not underestimate this primitive biped. He tracked Chen to an abandoned asteroid mining facility, prepared for every possible trap, every conceivable ambush. He never considered that the human might be hunting him. Chen appeared behind Gamma 3 in a maintenance shaft, moving with the patient deliberation of a persistence hunter. No enhanced speed, no advanced technology. Just the calculated movements of a species that had chased prey across continents until it collapsed from exhaustion. Your people made one critical error, Chen said as Gamma-3 spun to face him. You assumed that being the apex predator in the galaxy meant something to a species that killed its way to the top of its own planet. The final confrontation lasted 3 minutes. When it ended, Gamma-3 lay motionless, killed by a combination of environmental hazards, improvised weapons, and the kind of brutal efficiency that had once driven Earth's megafauna to extinction. High Counselor Zefak received Gamma-3's final transmission 2 days later. Unlike his predecessors, the third Shadowhunter had managed to record his encounter with the human. The Council watched in stunned silence as their ultimate predator was methodically dismantled by a being who fought with primitive weapons and raw cunning. "How is this possible?" whispered one counselor. "They're just humans. They have no enhanced genetics, no quantum technology, no biomodifications." Zefak's 4 eyes never left the recording as Chen's voice echoed through the chamber. "We don't need enhancements. We're the species that looked at the biggest, strongest, most dangerous creatures on our planet and decided they would make good dinner. We turned predation into an art form, warfare into a science, and survival into a philosophy. You sent assassins to hunt a human. You might as well have sent prey. The Council of Vex never sent assassins after Captain Marcus Chen again. Some battles, they realized too late, were lost before they began, especially when you were foolish enough to try hunting the hunters. In the end, the galaxy's most feared predators learned a simple truth that Earth had known for millennia. When you come for a human, you better not miss. Because if you do, they'll show you exactly why their species conquered an entire planet armed with nothing but intelligence, determination, and an unshakable conviction that everything else was just another challenge to overcome. The revolution continued to spread, but now it carried a new message throughout the sector. Humanity had arrived and they were nobody's prey.